Hey guys, and welcome to this week's 10 Minute Tuesday. Thank you so much for tuning in here. We have a little bit of a chirp gallery over on the couch tonight, and we also have Cal Ness, and we have Closet God Carter. We got this awesome 10 Minute Tuesday from Jackson Ryder back in November of 2024.
Yeah, hey, if you guys send us something, we have a big rotation. It might take a minute to get to.
Might take a minute.
Yep.
But he asked, how do you guys, or I have a question about stale birds. Do you guys deal with stale birds? Boy, howdy, do we ever. Do you guys deal with stale birds? And if you do, how do you approach a hunt knowing that the birds have seen everything and not want to work as easy? How do you set up decoys? How many decoys and hide? Thank you. Love the podcast. And we love you, Jackson. Thank you so much
for submitting this question.
That submission.
Yeah, it's a great submission.
Yeah.
We definitely have stale birds.
A lot.
I would actually say this is Stale Bird City.
Yeah.
Stale Bird Alley.
SBC.
Yeah.
SBA.
Whatever. SBA. Yeah, small business.
Well, especially where Gavin's at. You know, that's Stale Bird Alley.
Yeah.
You know,
for sure.
I can't deal with those birds. So those aren't stale birds. Those are fuck you birds.
Definitely.
In general.
There's levels to this shit.
There is levels.
There's levels to this shit.
Type shit.
Well, I think it depends. A lot of it depends on what you've been doing in the first place.
Right.
So, I mean, if you're out there and you're throwing huge spreads all the time, like if that's what your area kind of traditionally calls for, I mean, the first thing I would do is probably just try a lot of shit that you wouldn't normally do. That's like the best time. And we've talked about this before, but if you have really stale birds and you just want to go hunt anyway, then just start trying very random shit. Mm-hmm. If you've been throwing a huge spread, like go try throwing a very small spread. If you have normally been hunting out of, layout blinds in the middle of the field, try hunting them on the edge of the field. Get yourself a different hide setup maybe. This would be like my throw everything out the window. Don't like stress too hard about what you are and aren't doing. Just like try anything. Mm-hmm.
You're already going to get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
So what's the harm in trying something different? I think the main thing with decoys, right? Kind of like what Cal said, where if you're in a high decoy or a low decoy area, if you're in a low decoy area, easy, throw more. Mm-hmm. I'd say the biggest thing that has changed my hunting in general was buying a bunch of really old decoys. So GHD has a lot of species, and I kind of realized that the brighter colors and the darker colors are what stand out to ducks, right? And so I was hunting with this guy in Missouri this year, and he painted a lot of his full body mallards black and flocked them.
That's crazy work.
Yeah. No, they were just like whatever, old GHGs, painted them black and flocked them. And then he had ones that were just completely white. And I'm like,
wow,
what do we got going on here?
Yeah.
And he goes, dude, it's that time of year. They're not coming in. So I'm trying everything. We put out 8 dozen field mallards and 4 spinners.
White and black.
And let me tell you, they came in big time.
Ate it up.
And they centered up on the black ones.
Yeah.
And so like you can go way out of the realm and you can do the Nick Johnson shit where you're setting up a white box and a white field.
Totally.
You can do that type of a thing, but I'd say a lot of it has to do with calling and with decoys, really.
Yeah.
Hide, obviously. There's so many different variables to waterfowl, but
sure.
I would start by doing small adjustments.
Yeah, change your decoy spread. Mm-hmm. That's what I would do first. If you throw a lot of decoys, start throwing less.
And you can tell, if the longer that you do waterfowl, the more you can tell what's making the birds not come in.
Yeah.
And like we're all human. I'm not an expert by any means. Like Gavin's rolling his entire head over there.
The day you think you got birds figured out is the day you don't. That's a guarantee.
Right.
Another thing I would add to this too, look for a weird spot. Like there's a lot of like public, like little public spots or something that you might not normally hunt. If you have good range of fields that you have permission on, or you kind of have like most guys that hunt their area a lot, they kind of know their spots, and I think that like when it gets really stale in that scenario, you could certainly just be like, let's throw a dot on the map, or hey, why don't we just try this little creek or this back spot? I mean, the reality is you kind of have to come to terms with the idea at some points in the season where would you rather go out and shoot like 3 birds in a spot that you would normally never hunt because you're not going to get your limit? Or would you rather go to a spot that you've been getting absolutely shit canned in 5 days a week, you know, and try to do something random? I mean, for me, it's like that's a great time of the year to be like, well, let's go to that random lake that we never go to that is kind of that weird walk-in, or, you know, let's just go see what they have there. You know, I think that's another good time to do that too.
Yep.
Because spots change and birds' behavior will change. And, you know, you could go into a spot you never really hunt and then you might shoot 6 ducks and have an awesome hunt with a buddy and be like, that was so fun. Like, it's a cool spot.
Right. There's been a lot of times where I've gotten beaten to spots just because I refuse to sleep at the launch sometimes.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting old and shit. And there's this one lake that I can think of that I've taken both of you to many times. And there'll be a lot of times where people are out there and it's like a main lake area and you're all kind of competing for the same birds.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple times, you've been on one of them, where I'm like, where we can't even get to the lake.
Yeah.
Or there's too many people and we're like, fuck it, let's go into the wooded area. And we ended up beating the brakes out of them.
Had a great hunt.
You know, we had a really good hunt. Remember when Hammy fell in the water? Yeah, that's the place I'm thinking about.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we had so many ducks and they would come from the lake. They're circling. They're not wanting to go where they're going. So they're looking for like refuge, safety, whatever. And we didn't have that many decoys out. I think we had like
18.
That's exactly the number I was going to use.
Yeah.
And we were just standing next to trees and whatever, and we killed the shit out of them. It was so much fun. So like, think of like an area like a large refuge, and there's still public next to it that no one ever hunts. They're getting banged up over there, and they're just going down in every other place. Just go to the other places after you're assuming that those people are going to bang on them, scare them, spook them out of there, and try a spot away from people. Don't set up 150 yards from people, but just like get to a different spot than those people and give them the refuge.
Yeah, I think that gives you a lot of perspective too on areas that you don't normally hunt. And birds obviously don't just always use the same area, so it's a great day to go out and be like, well, let's just see what happens.
Yeah, and I mean, the definition of stale birds, right?
Right.
They've been there for a while.
Yep.
They know where they're safe, and they know where they're not.
And they know what a decoy spread looks like some of the time too.
So you just got to switch it up, dude, and try different shit. And each spot is different for what it needs, and there's so many different variables, but just like get out of your comfort zone. No mojos. More mojos. All water motion.
Yep, black and white decoys.
Black and white decoys.
Yep, small spread, big spread, weird hide, normal hide.
No calling, too much calling.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah, just throw whatever you can at them, see what happens.
That's kind of the cool part about waterfowl. I listened to it on a different podcast where, like, if you were going to if there was an equation to bang them every time you went out there, it would be less enjoyable.
Yeah.
This makes the wins more worth it.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, man, I don't know if we're going to shoot anything. Let's just pick a random spot on a map, like what we did with Gavin and Molnar. And, you know, we had so much fun on that hunt.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Gavin stole a lot of ducks that day.
Our gear wasn't ready for that lake.
Our gear was not ready for that lake.
No. Decoys floating away.
No,
Nightmare.
Yeah, it was deep.
Nightmare. You know?
Avionics fucked us on that
Probably
one.
the best shot I've ever made.
We needed Onyx fish bad before we went out there.
Right.
Yes.
All right. Well, hey, thank you guys for listening to this 10-Minute Tuesday. Make sure to message us if you have any other ideas or things you'd like us to talk about, and we'll see you guys on the next one.